What's up? How you guys doing? Hold up. Damn. My camera's messing up. Real time tweaks, y'all. Good enough. How you guys doing? How you feeling? Feeling good? Very good. No, I'm a little late, my bad. What up, Dub? What's up, Xavier? How you doing? Missed you on the Let's Hash It Out last few weeks. Yeah, man, I've been busy. Busy. I'm going to try to stop by at some point, but this week's not looking that great either. But definitely want to come back. Just time is scarce commodity these days, you know what I mean? But it looks like it's just me and you, man. How you feeling? You want to jump on? Ain't no one else here. I'm down. If you're down, let me know. Yeah. It's just the hangout sesh today. Crypto's going up and down. Freaking damn it, Bitcoin. Hate it, but you know. That's the one thing about Bitcoin. It's always good for going up and down. Just man. It's like an abusive relationship though, you know, like it treats you good, then treats you real bad, and treats you good again, you forget about it, and then he treats you bad. It's crazy. Yeah, but Xavier, let me know if you want to jump on. I don't care. It's my show. We can do whatever we want. For people, what's good? Hey guys, feeling? How you doing? All right. I'll hit you up on X. We're going to have a guest today, Xavier. He's going to stop by the show. We're going to chalk it up a little bit. But how's everyone doing? You guys doing okay? No. Bags are bleeding. Xavier, what's your handle again? What's your handle on X? I don't even know. While he's replying, you could check out a crypto market. Why not? Who else I got? Who else I got in the spot? I need to know. Man, I've been busy, man. I've been so busy lately. It's crazy. You know, like sometimes it gets so busy you're like disoriented. That's how I feel right now. Am I the only one who goes through that? I doubt it. But sometimes it feels like it. I don't know. Let me know. Am I tripping? Yeah, I feel you. All right, let me share this thing real quick. Present. Share. Windows. Exit somehow some things. I always have too many things open. And yeah. That's not even what I wanted. I'm all over the place today, guys, if you can't tell. 6 people, what's goody? How you doing? We all have aged. We look young. We looked young last bull market. Yeah. It's pretty wild, man. Ever since 2020, I'm looking at like it's only been what, 4 years? I was looking young then. And then like before I changed my before I changed my channel to a crypto channel, I was doing like motivation stuff or whatever. I looked real young then. Time is crazy, man. Look at all this. My girl says I need collagen now. She's right though. I be frowning too much. I'm like, man, but it's okay. It's okay. She put me on some skincare game. I'm working on it, man. It's better than nothing. 5 people, what's good? Too old for this. I know. I can't be taking all these up and downs no more. My hip hurts. Dang. Crypto makes time fly. It does, and it makes wrinkles happen. Cryptostasia, what's up, guys? What's up? Welcome. LOL, me and you both. Damn, man. Does collagen even work? I don't even know. Yeah, like, it's crazy. I'd be looking back at my videos. And I'm looking young as hell. And now I'm looking older. I mean, I don't look that old, I don't think. But then like it's like, oh dang, I got a gray hair right here, gray hair right here. This hurts. What did I do? Why does this hurt? Man, Xavier, hit me with your tag. We'll chalk it up. You know, guys, like at a certain point, you can only talk about crypto for so much, right? Like till you beat a dead horse, and it pisses you off, and then you like don't rage quit, but you like walk away in a rageful fit. So like sometimes, yeah, we'll talk about crypto, but we could talk about other things too, rather than crypto. Right now, crypto's going down. Bitcoin went down ever since the ETF release, so it was a buy the rumor, sell the news event. But like I said, you know, this is like the short to medium term. The bull case for crypto in the long term is better than it's ever been. When you shouldn't look at like institutions as like they're gonna buy in and you're gonna feel the effect right away. What they do though is provide some pretty stable buying power, because if people are dropping their bags like it's hot because they misinterpreted like the immediacy of what happens from the event, guess who's picking up those dropped bags? The institutions that just got in here, right? And they're called patient money for a reason. You don't get that much money just like acting off your emotions all willy-nilly. They're not gamblers. They're methodical. So with that said, we have all these institutions in here now. They're buying up the bottom of the bags. It's not even really the bottom, but you know what I mean. The interim bottom. And the halving's coming up. And again, we'll have to see what happens in terms of like their marketing and how they push this towards their clients and people who might buy the product. You know, they might like hype it up as the halving being this great thing, or maybe the halving will happen like it always does. The halving comes, nothing really happens. There might even be a little drop because people are disappointed for whatever reason, or they knew, whatever, I don't know. But then give it 6 to 9 months, and then that circulating supply gets reduced and reduced and reduced. And then finally, we're actually operating off of the new like block release schedule. And then the scarcity factor kicks in, and that's when Bitcoin's price typically goes up. We'll see what happens here. 7 people. You'll look like me soon. You look good, man. You look good. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, Mountain Man look on. I like that. It's dope. Chopping wood and stuff. I like it. All right, guys. Or don't send me it, Xavier. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I could just freestyle. So basically, the way I'm looking at it, guys, is we might be in a lull pattern for a little bit, but it's kind of interesting because the Bitcoin dominance scenario that I've been telling you guys about is still in play. So what does that really mean? I'm not sure. But we can look at it, right? I won't say I'm not sure, because the Bitcoin dominance falling down is typically good for altcoins. You don't really know until it happens, but so is investing, right? If we all knew exactly 100%, we'd all be stupid rich and we wouldn't have to watch YouTube channels about this, right? So we can look at it, right? What's probably going to happen with Bitcoin falling is people get scared. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. And what happens when people get scared? This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Those of you who have never seen it, I can't believe you haven't seen it because I talk about this like all the time. But it's basically the market cap of Bitcoin. And it's following the money coming in and going out of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the largest asset. So it gives you like the macro of how the market is in general. But it's kind of counterintuitive. When things go bad in crypto, Bitcoin dominance goes up because Bitcoin is a perceived safe haven asset within crypto. It's the digital gold. That's the narrative, right? So when you see it go up, that means things are bad. It's usually bear markets. And between 2018 to 2019, that was a bear market, right? From what? 2021-ish or whatever, 2022 to now, up to now, God just got over a bear market, right? So you could obviously see that as a true thing. Between 2021 to the whole year of 2021, that was a bull market. Bitcoin dominance fell down. Between 2017 to 2018, that was a bull market. Bitcoin dominance fell down. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at those generalities of how the market moves. It's a truth because we've observed them on the chart. I'm not making it up. This is the data. So we got done with an extended run up. This is a reversal pattern, similar to the reversal pattern that happened in 2021, and we finally broke out of that pattern. You can see with that big old red candle right there. We've exited once, came back in, exited again. What's probably going to happen is when you go on the daily, you can see that there's like this Wing pattern, right? Probably come up, and I'm thinking it's going to tag the outside of this rising wedge, and then it'll come down. That's like confirmation to the other side. We'll have to see, though. We'll have to see, because, you know, there's a W here too, but it made a slightly lower low. Can't really see it here. I can zoom up on the daily. And if you guys don't know about time frames, you know, I'm not like, I'm self-taught, so, you know, I'm not like, you know, the best chartist in the freaking world, but, you know, I know my way around charts. And basically on the time frames, if you're looking at the daily, that means these things might play out across the next couple weeks. If you're looking at the weekly, that means that these patterns that you're looking at might play out over the next couple months. If you're looking at the monthly, now you're talking at years. And I do suggest you guys look at all of them, right? Because each one tells a different story. On the monthly, it's very obvious where this thing's probably going to go. And this is RSI, the Relative Strength Index. This tells you whether asset is overbought or oversold. Higher to the range suggests more that it's overbought. Lower to this range means it's more or less oversold. And sometimes you get times when it's totally out of the range. And that's very easy to understand what's happening with that price. But with the most part, this thing's curving down on the monthly. It's probably going to come down. But we don't care about years. I like to work in the weekly. You know, what's going to happen over the next couple months, you know, kind of more like swing trade territory. And same thing as well. It's trending down. It's below this last low set. But we'll have to see, right? We'll have to see. All I can really give you is my rationale as to why I think something's going to play out. I always suggest getting more rationale, hearing different scenarios, and then you coming up with your own thoughts, right? Yep. But that's what I think is going to happen. But like, what's the catalyst going to be to make altcoins run like that? We'll have to see. That's suggesting that money is going to be trickling down and getting reinvested into altcoins. But why would that happen? What are some reasons as to why it could happen? Well, one reason would be some kind of altcoin ETF coming out, right? Like, that would be an interesting situation. But what we are seeing as time goes on in the Bitcoin market is the decoupling of assets. And that's something that didn't happen in 2014, 2017. Altcoins move with Bitcoins. There was no altcoin season in 2017. Not really. I mean, altcoins were going up more because they have a smaller market cap, but Bitcoin still was going up marginally. You know, like, but as time goes on, that relationship gets more and more severe and more intense, right? Like, we saw altcoin seasons that didn't include the whole market last time. That's never happened before if you haven't been around, right? We saw AI pop off. We saw metaverse pop off. We saw meme coins pop off. Those have always kind of popped because everyone loves memes, right? But what I'm trying to get at is this. We're watching the evolution and the maturation of the crypto market. It's starting to move more like stocks. Now we're starting to see clear, defined sectors developing, right? Niches. Like, it's very cool to watch. It makes it more challenging to navigate. But as these markets get more and more predictable over time, so does the profit potential of you making money in this go away. When it's easy to read, when it's easy to understand, the gains are less because the market rewards risk taking always. And isn't that the way the world should be? Right? Shouldn't the way it should be is that people take the most risk, stand to profit the most because they have the most to lose. That's the natural way of the world, you know? So we'll have to see. It's a blessing and a curse. But at the end of the day, we have some very big fundamentals developing really. We have the largest money managers in the world in this space now. We have the halving coming up. We're probably going to see some regulatory clarity around this because I don't really understand, BlackRock having an ETF and doing all this stuff and pensions holding it without it being clearly defined in the law. That would seem a little weird, right? So we're closer to regulations than we've ever been. And now you could say it's bad for crypto, whatever. You're entitled to your opinion. But I don't think any of this stuff is bad for crypto. Like, you're tripping if you think that, to be quite honest. I would say that with love. But you're tripping, right? Because remember, guys, you just care about the USD price, right? Who cares? Because Bitcoin's the same Bitcoin. A Bitcoin is the same Bitcoin if there's an ETF, if there's not ETF. If you go crypto to crypto, what do you really care? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Crypto was never meant to be cashed in for USD anyway. So yeah, there's some crypto purist out there, and I'm not really a crypto purist. I'm not an anything purist. I like to be more of a realist, and if you want to get back into the USD system and do all that stuff, yeah, okay. Those things affect you. But if you ever wanted to use crypto as it was really intended in the white paper, these things don't affect you at all, So I don't get it. Besides, unless people are just against the USD value going up, who cares? Self-custody, whatever. It's not good that they're going to hold people's Bitcoin. Who cares? Who cares? That's their decision. They're adults. They can make their decisions. As long as you self-custody your crypto, who cares? 10 people, what's up? Dave does all of that. Oh, you mean all that? Dave got collagen? I could tell, man. Looking smooth. I saw your tweet on that, and it did flow into alts. Well, ETH, nice one. Yeah. I guess I could watch ETH. Let's look at ETH dominance. I haven't looked at that here. There's definitely a hierarchy of how things move, right? ETH is obviously, I haven't looked at today. It hasn't been pulling back like most alts have or Bitcoin has, right? So there is a hierarchy from big to smallest, but in between there's this whole kind of spectrum of assets that rank from Bitcoin to your lowest altcoin. That's ETH. Bang, 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 bang. Name your altcoins. People could debate, but it usually goes by market cap. ETH is the second largest crypto asset in the world today. ETH USD. You can look at that real quick. Why not? So, okay. ETH on the weekly looking like it's getting pretty close to the top of the RSI, but please know that there's times in history where RSI could overperform and get really overbought. I don't think we're there, but that was like a blow-off kind of phase in 2020, so I don't think we're there yet. But just know that's around the top. But ETH's been killing it, man. ETH's been killing it pretty much all for the last quarter into this, right? It topped out at around, 2,700? Not bad. This thing's damn near retraced from its bottom. I won't count that wick. 150%. It's only off its highs about 100%. Not bad. I mean, for an altcoin, not bad, right? We'll see. Let me see ETH dominance. What am I doing? I can't spell. It's okay. Spelling's overrated, especially AI now. Who cares? I was trying to tell my teachers that in school. I'd be like, hey, why does this matter again? Because you can't spell. I'm like, yeah, but I got spell check. ETH dominance, 2019 it was lowest. I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's not a good chart. Wish I had longer, but I guess ETH popped up around here. It's not a very long chart. Looking kind of round. I don't know what that means. My bad. Sometimes I gotta marinate on it, I can't do that on the live like that. And sometimes charts don't help you out because there's not enough price history. You can't really look at shapes like that. I guess you could. I just can't. But yeah, ETH's doing well, and then after ETH does well, then the ERC20s typically do well. You have to think of it in terms of like buckets of money, right? So like Bitcoin's getting squeezed out, and all the the liquidity's leaving the sponge and getting collected into the buckets below it. Obviously, a lot of the liquid will go into the biggest buckets. The biggest bucket being Ethereum. I like to talk in analogies so it's easier to understand. And then because Ethereum catches a lot of that liquidity, that wealth effect starts happening with the people that hold ETH. The people who hold ETH probably have ETH ERC20 tokens because they're created on ETH and they start flowing down, right? So like whenever you see like the layer 1 start to pop off, expect that money to make its way into the tokens built on the layer 1. That's just how money moves. That's literally how the wealth effect happens. And that's why you'll see people who've been in the space a long time invest into the blue chips, Bitcoin being a large percentage. Then they go to Ethereum. Then they go down to like, the top 25. Then they start moving that money down the coin market cap list. I say it just so because it's a ranking system. But that's basically how crypto money moves. ETH got a lot of money in it recently. And there's been talk about there being an ETF for Ethereum lately. I think on one of my last live streams, maybe the last one. Actually, no. Larry Fink was talking about that. He's the head dude at BlackRock, biggest money manager in the world. He was talking about how it makes sense for there to be an Ethereum ETF. And we talked about, and we just looked at the Bitcoin dominance chart and how that the rising wedge, which is a reversal pattern, the price of Bitcoin broke down. I mean, the Bitcoin dominance broke down out of it. Now, I think it's going to go back for a retest to confirm it's leaving that structure, which means it's going to come back and touch that cone, and then it might fall down. That's what the pattern's suggesting to me. It looks like it's coming down out more than it's rising up out of it, right? So knowing that, I'm positioned for that. But the one thing about trading is it doesn't tell you the events that cause it. It's a forward predicting indicator, right? Charting tells you what's going to happen before it's happened, which is a very interesting thing about charting. But because of that, you have to develop a strong amount of faith that the geometry is going to be true. Because honestly, you're moving money around based off of shapes and it's pretty wild. But then the catalyst happens and then it makes all sense. But by the time, when the catalyst happens and if you're making decisions off of that news event, off of that development, you're late. And that's the catch-22. That's why charting is important. It's not everything, right? Because it's hard to keep a good, strong conviction based off shapes alone. It's good to understand things developing, laws happening. When you put the two together, then you're just a more informed, more nimble, proactive investor with a lot of confidence in your investment thesis. And those are the two things that I think need to be merged together for most people in crypto. Some people are just all technicals, and that's why they jump in and out, and don't have any faith in the positions that they're in and drop things on the bottom because the chart went a different way. And then you have people who just hodl, and that's fine too, but they never jump in and out. And they never benefit and reap the rewards, right? So when you bring the two together, now you're now you're formidable. You're a force to be reckoned with. I don't know. Sorry, Dave does all that for me. I just poked 2 buttons. I am really green with computers. Oh, no problem. Guys, make sure to go see Blind Dave comes through here. Xavier speaks on the Hash It Out every Thursday. What time, Xavier? Drop it in the chat so the people could see. It's fun. It's a good time. Sometimes I pop up in there when I have time. But it's a lot of crypto OGs sitting around talking about things that really matter. Crypto, for the most part, the price, it matters to an extent. But you have to understand, crypto is a means to an end. And they usually talk about those type of topics that really matter, like self-sovereignty, like being able to like custody your own stuff. Basically, the things that crypto, the options it will give you, the things you can avoid by being able to be financially sovereign. Go check it out. Drop the time, Xavier. I'm drunk. Good. See, when it makes Bitcoin hurt less. What the is a ETF? I know you know what an ETF is. Irrelevant be trolling. But ETF, in case for those of you who don't know what it is an exchange traded fund. It's a financial product. They typically can be settled in cash or physical assets. But because we live in a fiat Ponzi scheme, they're typically settled in cash. Even the current fiat exchange traded fund that's offered now for Bitcoin has a clause where they could settle in cash. So yeah, they're typically not all physically like settled. But it's the reason they exist is because people aren't gonna like go buy oil, right? Like, you gotta house that stuff. You can't just have oil sitting in your freaking shed, you know? Like, it gives people price exposure to things and being able to like participate in moves. Like, if I wanted to buy a whole bunch of copper, where the hell am I gonna put it? Like, a whole garage full of copper is only like $10,000. Like, some things don't make sense, right? So I understand it. I don't poo-poo ETFs. You can't go buy uranium. You can't go just put it in your house. You're gonna die. You know, so it makes sense in some ways. For Bitcoin, not so much, but I get it, you know, in terms of like institutions and stuff. They don't really want to hold Bitcoin. They're not interested in financial sovereignty. We're all into crypto for different reasons. You know, some people don't care about crypto. I hate to break it to you. They just want to get rich. I think that's most people in the space today. But some people do, and they just want to have options. 13 people, what's up? How many countries were talking about Bitcoin in 2017? Few. How many countries are talking about it now? I know Estonia was talking about it. They did the first crypto real estate exchange ever. I know China was talking about it because they were talking about banning it. I know United States was not talking about it. They were just like laughing at it. But I do remember that one guy who was sitting behind Janet Yellen in the Fed minute hearing where he held up his notebook and said, buy Bitcoin. Genius. What a legend. I don't know. There's been a few, but like they definitely weren't talking about it seriously. They definitely weren't talking about buying it, at least openly, you know. I'm of the opinion that like Bitcoin is such a financial revolution. It's such a technological breakthrough that I think it might have been made by like a country. I think it was developed by a country. It's just like came out of nowhere. Like I don't buy the whole narrative, Satoshi. Like, yeah, I get that it was put out there anonymously. But come on, man. This is like some next level, never been done before encryption stuff. You know, but hey, who knows? Satoshi doesn't have to be one person. It could be like a conglomerate of people. It can be a consortium of agencies. It could be whatever. All we know is that it showed up one day and it was something that's never been achieved before. 10 people, what's up? What's up, bro? Fire 100 Rocket. What's up, Richie? How you feeling? Doing okay? Cool. Force Central. Yeah, go check out Hash It Out on Force Central, guys. It's chill. Let's hang out. Pull up a drink. Go kick it. Tokenizing everything is coming. Yeah. You know, I really want to find that. Give me a second. Larry Fink. Be finking, man. Larry Fink, tokenize everything. He said this on a interview. If you haven't seen it, just go to show you that even the price is dipping. That's not what you should be looking at. Which one do I want to look at? Bloomberg. Yeah, we could listen to this one. Hold up, guys. Hold up. Technical difficulties. I'm a one-man show. I'm like 2 seconds away. Give me a second. Yes, 1080p, man. Come on. All right. I gotta stop screen, present. I wonder if you guys can hear it. Can you hear this? Let me know. I gotta know. Can you guys hear it? Let me know in the chat. Damn. No? Alright, give me a second. Okay. Take two. Damn it. Share screen. Where do I go? Okay. I'm gonna try again. See, I'm getting smarter. But my computer ain't liking this 1080. We're going 720.
First time we've had an opportunity to talk to you about it, which is
Bitcoin,
the Bitcoin ETF. We're going to be talking to Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, who made that decision reluctantly, maybe even begrudgingly, which was announced just 2 days ago, and we talked a lot about yesterday on the broadcast. How big a deal is that for BlackRock? And this was for you a big switch as well, because you were a naysayer for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I probably switched. For the first 3 years of thinking about it, I was a naysayer, and about 2 years ago, I switched. And I'm actually, as I said in the last 2 years, I'm a big believer.
Are you a believer personally?
About time.
Is the Fink family a Bitcoin buyer or a buyer of this new ETF?
Well, now I could do that. I cannot, I don't want to compete with our clients, so I don't buy single assets. I'll buy mutual funds. I'll buy single ETFs. So I have an opportunity to do that now. But I'm a believer in it because I do believe it is an alternative source for wealth holding. I don't believe it's ever going to be a currency. I believe it's an asset class.
You don't believe it ever becomes a currency?
No, I think we're going to create digital currencies. We're going to use the technology for it. We're going to use the blockchain.
CBDCs.
How important is that, though, to then the long-term value proposition
of Bitcoin?
Of Bitcoin. If it's not something that ultimately becomes a currency, if it's simply, we'll call it digital gold, it's an asset of some sort, what does that mean?
It means,
in terms of price,
I believe it goes up if the world is more frightened, if people have fearful of geopolitical risk, they're fearful of their own risk. It's no different than what gold represented over thousands of years. It is a asset class that protects you.
Right.
And unlike gold, where we manufacture new gold, we're almost at the ceiling of the amount of Bitcoin that be created.
When you hear somebody like Kathy Wood,
yes,
who was on our broadcast yesterday, say that her base case is that this turns into a $600,000 a Bitcoin valuation, base case, and a million plus in a super optimistic case. Are you anywhere in her realm?
I haven't thought about it. To me, that what we are trying to do is offer an instrument that can store wealth. I think if it gets that even close to that high, gold will represent even a bigger value. And let's be clear, if you think it's digital gold, there's going to be a reference point between gold and Bitcoin. But let me get back to what happened yesterday. A part of our announcement that you mentioned in the opening, that we changed the architecture of our firm.
Right.
And much of it has to do with how we think about iShares and ETFs. When we bought BGI, very few people believed in that acquisition. and we were pretty mistreated for a couple of years, because we said active and passive can coexist. Obviously, we were right on that. Two, we said the fixed income market will be transformed through ETFs. That has now happened. Yesterday, we had the first day of Bitcoin ETFs. And our reorganization is taking that ethos of what has happened over the last 10 years. We believe ETFs is the technology that's going to transform every asset class. We believe everything will be done through ETFs. And so we believe this is just the beginning, and we needed to embed ETFs across the entire.
So what does that mean? If you're Rick Reeder, who we've had on the broadcast for years.
Rick is now doing more ETFs in his active space now. There's a great example of how we are taking what a very active investor and now putting that into an ETF platform. Let me be clear. I think ETFs are step one in the technological revolution in the financial markets. Step two is going to be the tokenization of every financial asset. And to me, this is where we believe it's going. So we're looking at Bitcoin, we're looking at ETFs in the same manner. These are technological changes that can allow us to move forward.
What did you see yesterday, by the way, in terms of inflows as it relates to Bitcoin?
We were very happy with the flows. It appears that we received about 40% of the flows yesterday. I mean, one day doesn't make it.
Are these new customers? Are these people who are coming out of other funds? I mean, Grayscale is the biggest player in this space right now. Are you trying to take share from them in terms of taking those clients over, or are you trying to create a new class of customer?
Primarily, we're trying to create an opportunity for new customers can invest in this financial instrument. Over the long run, do we believe, just think about the fee differential between an ETF and some of these trusts.
Right.
These trusts are like 120 basis points.
Very expensive. We were talking with the head of Grayscale yesterday. And still an expensive product.
And these are 20 to 30 basis points in the ETF wrapper.
Well, it's expensive, by the way, for if you're a Grayscale customer to sell your shares.
Well, it's very
taxes.
expensive. Yes, and this is the big issue with the SEC, and this is something you may want to ask Gary. The industry asked to transfer in kind into an ETF, and that was denied by the SEC. That's a fine.
Meaning, let's just put a fine point on that. The industry, meaning companies like yours, asked the SEC to allow folks who might have owned shares via a Grayscale to be able to transfer those in kind to a BlackRock or to Fidelity or whomever.
And so that there would be no tax ramifications. That was not denied. They wanted to really just create from scratch cash only, which we all respect the SEC's reasoning.
That creates an opportunity actually for Grayscale to keep those customers for a much longer time.
It does, but I think over the long run, when you start adding up the fees and adding up the fees, people are going to start thinking about redeeming and then ultimately going into an ETF.
Longer term, do you now expect other cryptocurrency ETFs? Meaning, do you think that Gary, and we'll talk to him later, Gary
like Ethereum
will have to approve
like
an
Ethereum
ETF? And is that a function of something the SEC has to do, or do you think that all these things have to go to court first?
I couldn't respond to that. I see value in having an Ethereum ETF. As I said, these are just stepping stones towards tokenization. And I really do believe this is where we're going to be going. We have the technology to tokenize today. If you want to think about this, if you had a tokenized security and you have a tokenized identity, you, Andrew, the moment you buy or sell an instrument, it's known. It's on a general ledger that is all created together. You want to talk about issues around money laundering and all that. This eliminates all corruption by having a tokenized system.
Jamie Dimon disagrees with you on that, but, or at least to some degree.
Boom. I mean, you don't even have to read between the tea leaves anymore, guys. They're not throwing like weird hints. They're being straight up. He said like Ethereum, he's letting you know the next ETF that's going to happen. Bitcoin wasn't the only one that's going to get an ETF, guys. Like Bitcoin, like, yeah, it's the first, but it's not like some kind of thing sitting on a high horse that can't be touched. Like Bitcoin, just the one that gets like opens the floodgates. Then it's going to be Ethereum, and then that's going to go well, and then it's going to be more and more and more, because once people make money in crypto, they want to get more crypto. That's how it always goes. That's how it went with you. That's how it went with me. That's just how human psychology works. And Larry Fink's letting you know that Ethereum is coming down the line. And he said that they're just stepping blocks. They're just stepping blocks, which means that after the first and second step, there's probably going to be more steps. And then he said it's going to go so far that everything in the world is going to be tokenized. And it gets rid of all corruption, right? Your car is going to be on the blockchain. Your house deed's going to be on the blockchain. Everything's going to be on the blockchain. Because what they're really going for, guys, is pretty much like control, right? They want to know every single transaction that's happening. They don't want anything under the table. Anything. That's why they don't want cash. I mean, yeah, it's a fiat currency, but cash is pretty anonymous. Each one has a serial code, yeah, but like you can give someone a piece, like some cash for something, they give it to you, and unless they report it, no one knows. So that's why they want the CBDC. You heard it. He doesn't think that Bitcoin is going to be a currency. He thinks it's going to be a store of value. I mean, I even go to say that's why there was a narrative shift. Get your head to think that this is something I hoard, I don't use. And then the countries typically want to control the medium of exchange. They don't care about the store of value, because even countries store their value, even central banks store their value in gold. Countries store their value in gold. Like they don't care about the store of value. They care about what you bring that value into the world with and how you spend it, because they want to know what you're doing. So very interesting to see. Hi Dub, keep educating people. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. Getting old doing it, but I'm trying. Which blockchains besides SNX can tokenize real world assets? Shentai on EOS, SNX. There's a lot of them. There's almost like one on every blockchain. I haven't followed up with it for a while, but at some point, guys, do you understand that the stock market's going to be tokenized? Yeah. I mean, all this management fees and all this and that, and it's archaic. And look, companies want to be as efficient as possible. They want something where they can eliminate a job, keep more profit. That's how they get down. That's how a white collar gets down. Let me get more efficient. I'm going to put in the technology to get more efficient, and then I make more money. Boom, I'm going to do it. We're seeing that with robots now. We're seeing that with AI now. People are losing jobs with robots and AI. Blockchain is just another technology. It's just a financial technology. Reggie, very patent. It's his IP. Oh, you're talking about tokenizing of real world assets? Yeah. I mean, I have some very from way back in the day. Got off Ether Delta. And basically, Veritasium was the first DeFi project. It was on Bitcoin. It was Bitcoin DeFi. Reggie got awarded Reggie is the founder. Reggie Middleton was the founder and got awarded recently in Japan, I think, a provisional patent for decentralized finance, which is a huge patent. Have to see if it's honored in the rest of the world, but I know he sent like cease and desist letters to lots of blockchains. I don't know if they've been responding to him. We'll have to see what comes of that situation. But that's a very interesting thing as well. If you guys don't know, Veritasium, Reggie Middleton, they were the first projects to get hit up by the SEC. The very first. And this is when Veritasium was a small, little, no one knew about a coin. Now it's even more small, little, and no one knows about it. If you go on CoinMarketCap and put in VERI, you'll see its ticker, and you'll see the note on top of CoinMarketCap stating that it's still involved with the SEC and this and that, and kind of casting shade on it. So, yeah. Good day. What's up? Is the U.S. and Japan, maybe others? Oh, and U.S.? That's huge. I don't know if you guys ever follow Cliff High. He's a dude who used like trending data and keywords on the internet to help get the aggregate understanding of what like may happen in the future using that trending data, trying to use language as a forward indicator. He talks about very getting implemented for some way into the United States financial system and stock market. take it for what it's worth. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong, but he did predict Bitcoin. So interesting. Markets, for sure. I have a couple more of the Fink Man real quick. Let's check them out.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we could have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Yup. So remember when he said that he just became a believer? He was a naysayer 2 years ago, and now he believes in Bitcoin. Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that he just all of a sudden, one of the smartest men financially in the world, has like so much of the world's wealth under their management? You think he just woke up to the fact that Bitcoin was this revolutionary thing? No. Look, guys, these guys are so smart. They're so smart. They just play dumb. Because I can't believe people believe it when they play dumb. They're not dumb. They're very smart people. And if we could pick it up, I'm sure Larry Fink knew what this was. They just are in the business of people and psychology management. They want to direct the herd in a way, like away from Bitcoin and to Bitcoin at the time of their choosing. And they usually do it at times that are beneficial for them. So Larry Fink decided to be a naysayer 2 years ago, but he always knew what this was. If he thinks that tokenization is going to be what it is, like he says it's going to be in the future, he's had to have known about this for a very long time. So you can't really trust what they say. You have to see what they do. But in order to see what they do, you have to pay attention. So if I'm here forever, if I'm not, or if YouTube starts censoring stuff and people get taken down that you watch, you need to be aware of this kind of news. You need to see what they're saying. You need to understand the developments, because it's when you don't know what's happening, that's when you start second guessing yourself. You start making mistakes. Whoever's closest to the knowledge profits the most, always. 16 people. Wow. Thank you for joining, y'all. I'm still going, but it's fun. I like it when you guys stop by, catch up, all that good stuff. I was trying to look for BlackRock's net wealth. They have a lot. They also have a AI system that helps them trade. See if we can find that. Called Aladdin. Yeah. It's called Aladdin. Don't know. We'll look at that later. How about that? But yeah. What do you guys think? What do you think of Larry Fink's idea of the future economy? Think about it, guys. You know the direction they want to head. When I say they, central planners, central financial planners, central social planners, central governments, central banks, they all work in tandem. They're centrally planning to a destination. That's why they are called planners. They plan, right? So what do they want? Where do they want to push us into? They want to push us into a cashless society. I don't think it's a secret. They say it openly, right? CBDC, digital currency, right? Like they're saying Bitcoin is store of value, but we're going to use a CBDC in order to transact between each other. Because money, do you know that the central bank changed its definition of money? They added a fourth definition between like a medium of exchange and all that. They said it's a method of control, social control. It's going to be a tool of social control, and that's why they want to control how you spend it, right? They won't make Bitcoin acceptable everywhere around the world, but they'll make their CBDCs acceptable because they want that ability to turn it on and off. They want that. I mean, that's pretty much getting you around the collar, around the neck, right? Like, you're going to do this. No, I'm not. Okay, switch. Now they don't have to come find you and you put up a fight and they're in danger, or like basically have to serve you with a paper or come take your stuff. You know, they don't have to do any of that. All they got to do is turn it off. Bye-bye. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. You know, so like they obviously want that, and then comes with the tokenization of everything, right? It's going to be insane. The blockchain has been a blessing, and it also will be a curse. It's all about how we as humanity decides to use it and which ones we use. Is it going to err towards the sides of decentralization, a multi-coin world which gives people a plethora of options, or will it be one coin to rule them all? Because if it's one coin to rule them all, I know which coin's going to win. Their coin. That's how they always amass power. They always just use one thing. World reserve currency. Typically, that wasn't a thing until the modern history. The world used to be using a lot of currencies. In fact, the world did inter-country commerce in the natural reserve currency, which is gold. But once the U.S. and like I think, you know, the British pound and the Dutch before that had a fiat currency as a world reserve currency, then those countries that issue that currency had an improportionate amount of power globally. And they were able to do things and have forever wars and just basically usurp everything because they can print their way out of anything. They can print to control anything. They can print to control influence. So you have to see how this goes. That's why forking is important. That's why decentralized systems are important. But most importantly, that's why an interoperable cryptocurrency future is important, because it allows people to jump here to here to here to here, decentralized way. Forking is important, even though people hate forking. It's important. In case the hash power of a system gets taken, a fork could pop out. Everyone that holds that coin could then get the other coin. They could jump over here. And it can happen a million times, as many times as you want. It's all about keeping the centralized planners off your back, guys. And at some point, talking like this, I might get taken off of YouTube. But I don't care, because whatever. Whatever, you know, like, this is the real spirit of crypto. This is why people initially got into crypto. This is people who got in 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is what they thought. This is the reason that made them come into crypto. It was because they understood how all this works. They're tired of being part of forever wars. They're tired of getting coerced financially. You know? What else? Got anything else? Oh, we go watch Gensler. Gensler's lame. Recently did an interview with CNBC television. Let me pop it up real quick. Gensler. Man, Gary is such a little weasel, man. He approved the thing, but he gives me weasel vibes. Let's check it out.
Now, first on CNBC, following that decision that some have described as historic, is SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Chair Gensler, we appreciate you being with us. Let me start by asking you this. Do you consider the decision historic? And it appears that it's a decision that you made.
It looks like you don't want to be there.
Either reluctantly or perhaps even begrudgingly.
Well, look, Andrew, this has been considered for a long time. As you know, starting under Chair Clayton, we had disapproved a number of these over the years, and something had changed. I'm a deep believer in the rule of law and a respect for the courts, and taking a new court decision into consideration, we move forward. I think this is the most sustainable path forward.
So it appears, though, from what you're saying and reading through the decision as well, that what changed is not necessarily something inherent to crypto or Bitcoin per se, but what changed was what the courts did. Is that the way to think about this?
Well, again, I mean, we do everything here at the Securities and Exchange Commission within the law and within how the courts interpret those laws. And that's what the American people expect, and that's what we do here.
What is your message to investors about Bitcoin now? Because we're going to have all sorts of public investors now potentially have access to Bitcoin in a way that they didn't before. We were just talking to Larry Fink. He said that he got a huge wave of new investors getting into Bitcoin through this ETF. You have still suggested to be cautious about it, and I'm trying to understand how you think about those cross currents in terms of the message you're telling investors.
Well, look, Bitcoin itself, we did not approve, we do not endorse. This is a product called an exchange-traded product, a way that investors can invest in that underlying non-security commodity called Bitcoin. But yes, investors, I think, should be aware that the underlying asset is a highly speculative, volatile asset, and amongst its use cases is really for illicit activity, money laundering and sanctions and ransomware and the like. And I know that you've asked other people over the last few days, is it being used as a store of value? It's a speculative, volatile store of value. Is it being used as a payment anywhere? Are we buying cups of coffee with it? Not really. The only payment mechanism it's being used for, in sort of in a primary sense, is illicit activity. So I think you've been spot on about that, Andrew.
So just on that note, Mr. Chairman, this is out, and I'm not going to take either side on the whole thing, and it's kind of funny. But these are, I don't know the exact units, but if you look since 2017, what's been used to launder money, 20,000 is the unit for, 20,000 is the unit for a dollar, 33 is the unit for Bitcoin. So that's a multiple of I don't know how much for dollars being used for money laundering versus Bitcoin. But now I could see Bitcoin bears saying, really? Well, it's not even good for money laundering. Then it has zero value. I could just see that as another arrow in the quiver for the bear case. But the question I wanted to ask you was this: let's take the continuum. Let's take the rat poison, Beanie Baby, Jamie Dimon, Charlie Munger versus we had yesterday on our Coinbase CEO. Did you hear him make the case for Bitcoin? I mean, it was almost like a symphony to Bitcoin bulls, Chair Gensler. The proof of work, akin to gold. Every monetary aspect we've had for thousands of years is represented perfectly. And Tom Lee, there's never been a mistake on the blockchain out of trillions of transactions. You understand it. You taught at MIT. Which is it? Is it a Beanie Baby in your view, or is it something that has inherent value that's going to be part of the financial system decades from now? Which is it?
Look, no doubt there are innovations within this field, and those innovations, which I taught about at MIT, around a ledger system. It's just an accounting system called the blockchain technology. But there's an irony in the midst of this. Satoshi Nakamoto said this was going to be a decentralized system. And finance, this has led to centralization. Think about the irony of those who say this week is historic. This was about centralization and traditional means of finance that investors who could already express themselves in Bitcoin, you could already, before this week, buy it through major brokerage houses, but now you can buy it through this thing called an exchange-traded product
But the
as
underlying
well,
asset still has
centralized.
the underlying asset still has the decentralized, distributed ledger, all those characters. That sounds like a, I don't know. That sounds like
No, Andrew. With all respect, there's a lot of centralization here, and even the underlying ledger is largely the Bitcoin's produced by a handful of mining companies and the like. And so I'm just saying now, in terms of monetary history, we have a dollar, we have a yen, we have a euro, we have the renminbi, and there's a reason for it because we do have a common economy that relies on those currencies.
Chair Gensler, let me ask you this, though. Is there a possibility, despite the fact that this has been now approved, that this spot ETF has been approved, that you could see a day where Bitcoin itself in some way would be outlawed? I ask because if you recall, and now there's a lawsuit taking place between Coinbase and the SEC. They went public, and they've now made, you've come back and said that there are certain unregistered securities and the like that are on their platform. They say, well, if you approved us the first time, how can you come back and say that this is not kosher? And so I think there is this other question about, and I know you're not endorsing Bitcoin, does that still open up the possibility that Bitcoin could somehow come under fire from the SEC or some other agency?
Look, let me talk about this field more broadly, and the American public is aware of this. It's rife with conflicts. It's rife with fraud and abuse without prejudging any one token. Many of these tokens, I would suggest a majority of these tokens are actually securities under the securities law. And so the platforms, the various places that you might buy or sell these crypto security tokens need to come into compliance with the federal laws.
What did you make of what Elizabeth Warren, who was very supportive of you taking this role originally, coming out and saying the SEC is wrong on the law and wrong on the policy?
I have deep respect for those who may have been on the other side of this. But again, I have a deep respect for the law and how courts interpret the law. We had the D.C. Circuit, a three-judge panel rule on this. We looked at it, and I thought this was the most sustainable path forward.
How do you think about other cryptocurrencies? People are now talking about whether there should be an Ethereum ETF and the like. Is that something you think you would take on proactively? Is that something that ultimately, in the same way that Grayscale had to go to court, does the court decision around Bitcoin to you act as a precedent on other currencies?
I look at what we did this week as it's cabined to one non-security commodity called Bitcoin. Like we've had gold spot exchange-traded products and silver exchange-traded products in the past and approved in the past. This is cabined just to that one non-security commodity token.
Interesting. And they stated that Gensler taught at MIT. He taught about Bitcoin. He taught a whole damn course. You don't have to take my word for it. Check it out. Gary Gensler at MIT. Look at all these courses. Does it seem like Gary doesn't understand the value prop of Bitcoin and crypto? No, it seems like he does. But like I said, they play stupid. They're smart people. They just play dumb. Right? Just like Larry Fink just all of a sudden came up with a bright idea like, wait, Bitcoin could change everything. I doubt it. He's super smart. You don't get to be in that position in the world without being really smart. So come on, man. You got to take whatever they say with a grain of salt. Recently, Davos started, right? And they're talking about Bitcoin in Davos. Davos is where the WEF meets, and they talk about all kinds of stuff about what they want to do. We don't really know exactly what goes on, right? We're not very privy to the conversation, but you could tell that they're probably not talking about, like, you know, just the weather. Well, they're probably talking about the weather too, but you feel what I'm saying. Give me 1 second. We could check out what they talked about regarding Bitcoin from the Coinbase CFO.
Everyone was talking about ETFs on Bitcoin last week. It was quite exciting to see it approved, although the SEC said, look, this is not a value judgment, the fact that it's approved. Do you see momentum from this being quite a game changer?
Absolutely. This was a landmark day for crypto. This really brings Bitcoin into a much broader investable asset class for trillions of dollars of assets. Previously, RIAs, many wealth managers, pensions couldn't access spot crypto, and this gives them a vehicle. It gives them a very familiar wrapper that they can now access through the traditional securities markets. So we think this is a wonderful step forward, bringing crypto to mainstream and bringing our goal of bringing crypto to 1 billion people around the world.
So, Alicia, have you seen an uplift? Have you seen momentum from last week? Have you had extra
We've
calls?
definitely seen dollars flow into the ETFs. What I'm so proud of is the markets have been stable, though. This was a long anticipated transition, and we're starting to see the gradual growth that we expected.
What does it mean for hiring, for example? Are you hiring more people? If you look at Coinbase in the next 12 months, where are you hiring and to what purpose?
You know, we have been really happy with our headcount over the last year. We are being incredibly efficient.
And
what
this
we
is at
saw
Davos.
Last year is we brought our costs down meaningfully, but our product expansion grew tremendously. We introduced Base, a layer 2 blockchain. We grew derivatives, both in the U.S. and outside the U.S. We introduced an international exchange, and we launched in many countries around the world. So we are seeing growth and efficiency. We're going to be adding headcount in 2024, but it will be all in pursuit of our roadmap. So
Man,
growing
so like white
internationally,
collar talk,
continuing to
right?
expand
Like
to our retail and our
corporate
institutional
speak.
customers.
Any regions particular that you're looking at? Or are you, for example, moving some of your U.S.-based employees outside the U.S. elsewhere?
No, this will be net new hiring in new local markets.
Okay, what are you most excited about in the next 12 months? You know, crypto and exchanges have had a bit of a wild ride over the last 18 months. Are you expecting stability, or are you still kind of on the lookout?
It is
Ain't no
so
stability in
important to
crypto.
zoom out when you look at crypto. So I've been at crypto for 6 years. Coinbase has been here for over 12 years. We've had quarters and months that were up. We've had months that were down. But when you zoom out, we've had this really nice upward trajectory over time. Growth in users, growth in products, growth in countries, assets, crypto market cap, but it's on a long-term basis. We are investors for the long term. So what I'm excited about for the next 24 months is just continuing to roll out products to our customers. We're looking to really grow our institutional product offering. We're looking to expand internationally. And I think we're going to see a lot of activity on our layer 2 solutions. So it's going to be a good year.
Where, when you say expand internationally, is it Asia? Is there, you know, a region that actually has embraced and will continue to embrace crypto with more open arms?
You know, just last week we introduced a partnership with Yellow Card where we're expanding into Africa. We're going to bring stable coins to the local market. We're seeing a lot of daily use cases around payment activity, which we're really excited about. But this year we launched, or 2023 I should say, we launched in Canada, we launched in Brazil, Singapore, and we're looking to really make steady growth in those markets that we're in.
So, Alicia, I think you've actually launched an international exchange, right, since December.
Absolutely.
I think it was early December. Can you give us an idea, again, of numbers, of flows, of how exciting that is?
We can't talk about numbers quite yet. We'll be introducing earnings in February, but we're starting to see good traction on the international exchange, which is opening up to a long tail of countries for access to the spot and derivatives markets.
Can you give us a glimpse?
So Coinbase is
into
rubbing
what
elbows
else you
with
have
the
in store
Davos
for us
people.
in 2024 in terms of new products?
You know, 2023 was a big year because we announced asset management for the first time. We announced derivatives. We have many new products that just got launched that we're now looking to grow. So I don't expect 2024 to be a big announcement around products. I expect us to see expansion and growth in many of our existing products, but we've just got a toehold in.
Okay, so this is your first Davos. What are you most excited about?
Oh,
you have
yes.
like 1 million meetings.
We do. What I'm really excited about is Davos will really help us with our Go Broad and Grow Deep international strategy. There's many global leaders here. There's an opportunity to talk about crypto regulation. There's an opportunity to talk about how crypto will really benefit their users and their markets, and how Coinbase is a trusted counterparty, and how we bring a different brand to the markets. And so we're really looking forward to the meetings that we have on the schedule.
I mean, broadly, regulators, and I know they're different, you know, from country to country, but do they understand a little bit better of what crypto is?
I would say that we're learning every single month and every single quarter. And the education that we have today is tremendous compared to a year ago, 2 years ago. So yes, and I think they're starting to see the differentiated between trusted and non-trusted brands. And trust really plays into the Davos theme this year as well, which I'm excited about bringing Coinbase's brand to that market.
Who do you think is the regulator that gets it most? I don't know if there's one.
Well, there's not one in particular, but what you see is now 80% of the G20 countries have crypto regulation. So MiCA's a great example in Europe. We
So
announced
Davos
that we're
trusts
putting our MiCA hub in
Coinbase. Can we
Ireland.
trust Coinbase?
And
I don't know.
MiCA is a great regulation that's custom to crypto, but you see that in Japan, you see that in Singapore, you see that in many countries around the world, big financial centers. And so we're optimistic the U.S. jumps into this and gets this right, but we're definitely seeing a lot of thoughtful regulation in many countries.
The first Davos. Coinbase is up in the mix. It's focusing around trusted products. You gotta ask yourself what trusted means. I saw this comment right here. Stop the video, please. It's enough to hear this guy Gary reach the heights of corruption. Smart, yes, but very corrupt. Yeah, I mean, look, guys, like, you gotta hear these things, though. You gotta confront these things because these are the people that are against you or plotting against you. You know, like, you have to understand, like, the good parts and the bad parts so you can maneuver correctly, right? And, like it or not, there's a lot of bad people in the world that are very smart. Don't take it away from them just because we don't like them. They're smart. You have to be able to, like, know how they think, how they move. You need to be aware. You might even need to raise that smartness of yourselves up to be able to, like, counteract what they do. A lot of people in the world are very powerful, not because they're moral people, but because they just happen to be very smart, you know? So very interesting. Crypto's doing whatever crypto's doing, but just know behind the scenes, a lot of people, a lot of money are talking about crypto, and they just don't happen to be the crypto bros that we've seen in the past who've had a lot of money in crypto. Now we're starting to see other people in crypto. And I'll tell you what, it just made me fun. It just made me laugh inside listening to that CFO of Coinbase talking, because the way she's talking, who they're talking to, this space looks nothing like what I came into when I first walked in here. Like, what is going on? Like, in Davos? You know, like, to be honest, crypto used to be, it wasn't being talked in the boardroom. It was getting laughed at in the boardroom. And now it's at the highest echelons of the boardroom. So you got to look at this somewhat skeptically. Whatever's happening, though, they can't stop you custodying your own tokens. There's probably going to be somewhere along the line a kind of crackdown on self-custody wallets. There probably will. And that's why I think at some point, privacy is going to take the major stage. You know, like, you could say it'll be like a crypto black market, but it won't be like you're buying illegal things. You're just conducting transactions that aren't accounted for on their records, you know, because they want cash gone. And anything that acts like cash gone, right? I mean, think about it. Like, even when the United States closed the gold window way back in the day, you know, what was it? Not close the gold window. They outlawed gold ownership for United States citizens. And then they had everyone turn in their gold. And then, like, overnight, they increased the price of gold when no one had it. And they had all the gold. So, like, governments are never really have your best in mind. And these new conglomerates, global conglomerates like the WEF, the WHO, whatever, they don't have your best in mind because they're essentially planning. Their plan doesn't always take you into account. But it's been a little bit, guys. It's been a little bit. Thanks for joining. I do this twice a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays. We kick it. We look at some news. We talk crypto. It's always fun. But until next time, guys, I'll talk to you later. Peace.